So we have a new archetype we're looking at, Raizeol. It's going to be a Pyro and Thunder archetype that focuses on XYZ summons, so you're going to want to check this out. Hey everyone, this is Max at MaxTCG. Thanks for joining me in another video. This video we're going over the Raizeol archetype. It's going to be in DBCB. It's a new set coming out soon. I don't think we have a confirmation yet of when this is going to be out in the TCG. We have a pretty cool archetype, kind of looks like a Zord kind of Power Ranger thing to me, so it's really cool. And we'll check out the cards and kind of review them together. So you have Supercharge the Duel with Raizeol. Hey everyone, this is Editing Max. If you're enjoying the content, hit that thumbs up button, give the video a like, and leave a comment if you have any discussions you want to start, and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more of this type of content. Everyone, thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy, and we'll get back into it. And for the first card here, we have Thode Raizeol. Level 4 Fire Thunder Effect Monster, attack 1500, defense 200. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. If you have a Raizeol monster on your field or in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, you cannot special summon from the extract for the rest of this turn except rank 4 XYZ monsters. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one light pyro monster from your deck to your hand. So this seems like a really good start. I do know they focus on rank 4s, so again, level 4 here is really good. You have the ability to extend with this. So if you send one of your Raizeol monsters to the graveyard, you could start with this as like an extender starter. So it'd be like a superior starter instead of just starting with it as a standard normal summon. So that could lead to potentially playing through hand traps or different plays, which is good. And just a card that normal summons and searches another monster is just a very good starter in general. So we're kind of starting to hit some of those key kind of mechanics you want in a deck generally to make it playable and consistent. But let's see what they can add when it comes to a light pyro monster for the Raizeol archetype. So next we have Node Raizeol. Level 4 Fire Thunder Effect Monster, attack 1400, defense 1600. You can only special summon this card with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. If you have an XYZ monster on your field or in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except rank 4 XYZ monsters. 2. You can send one card from your hand or field to the grave, then target one Raizeol monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position, but its effects are negated. Right, so this one's definitely not as good as the last one, when you have to have an Exceed monster in the grave or field to be able to special summon this out. So if it was just like another Raizeol, it'd be a much better extender. So this one, as one of the other Thunders, isn't the searchable one. It's another Thunder monster, not a Pyro. So we're not going for this, but kind of another potential way to make plays. It's going to be like more of an extender card, be able to get your Raizeol out of the grave and make another rank 4. But you do have to send a card from hand or field to the graveyard to be able to make that work, and then target one Raizeol from your grave and special summon. Now this is all for cost, so you could potentially send floodgates. That's something we've seen in a lot of strategies recently, that they're able to actually remove their own floodgates for cost to pay an effect. So that's a little something scary that maybe we need to consider from a game perspective. At least Konami does, with having kind of these floodgates, since you can just activate them, turn them off. So that's pretty scary. But overall, again, not the best card, but a decent extender that definitely sees having some play, especially if you can start with the other one, get to your rank 4, and then this is like a follow-up card. And then, you could easily just summon this one out, send a card, get another rank 4, and you could probably do all of that without normal summoning again. So pretty good, but not as good as the first. Alright, so next we have Ice Raizeol, level 4 light pyro effect monster, attack 1700, defense 1000. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending one card from your hand or field to the graveyard. If summoned this way, you cannot special summon from the extra for the rest of this turn except rank 4 monsters. 2. If this card is normal special summon, you can special summon one Raizeol monster from your deck except Ice Raizeol. Alright, so this seems really good. The ability to special summon is very simple. You just from hand send a card from hand or field to the grave. Again, you can get rid of floodgates. Like you activate skill drain, you activate this in hand, you're activating this in hand by sending that card to the grave to summon it. And then it's summoned this way, you cannot special summon the rest of it. So yeah, they're locking you into rank 4s, but it's not Raizeol, it's just generically rank 4s, so that's a really good pool. And then if you normal summon this card, you can special summon a Raizeol from your deck. So this is also a good starter, because you can just normal summon this and start it. So you have at least 2 starters with the first guy, and then this is a really good search target for the first one, the Thode Raizeol. And then you could also special summon this out. So it's a very good card. Definitely seems to be a 3 of. Seems like a pretty simple archetype so far in terms of how it's playing. But let's see what else we have and how more of these cards work together. So this is the first Pyro we've seen that you could search. So now we have Ex Raizeol, level 4 light Pyro effect monster, attack 500, defense 2000. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. 1. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending one XYZ monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. If summoned this way, you cannot special summon the extra deck for the rest of this turn except rank 4s. 2. If this card is normal or special summoned, all face-up monsters you control are level 4 rank 4 monsters. You can add one Fire Thunder monster from your deck to your hand. Right, so this seems, again, like a pretty solid card. Pretty easy to special summon out. Just send one of your Xseeds to the extra to the grave. It makes me wonder, do the Xseed monsters have graveyard effects? That would make this a benefit versus using a resource. You're locked into Xseeds, but again, rank 4s, but that seems to be the theme. And then if it's normal or special, and all face-up monsters you control level 4, which seems to be the whole strategy, you can add a Fire Thunder from your deck to your hand. So that can get you follow-up here. So this one seems really good too. Alright, so next we have Palma Raizeol, level 4 Fire Thunder special summon effect monster, attack 1200, defense 2400. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by shuffling one Raizeol from your hand or grave into the deck / extra deck. 1. You cannot special summon the extra deck except rank 4 monsters. 2. Once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster, during damage calculation, you can summon one level 4 from your hand or deck to the grave, and if you do, this gains attack equal to that monster's during the end of the battle phase. So this seems like an okay card. Just another extender to be able to just make rank 4 plays. You had the ability to shuffle back resources from hand or grave, so even if you don't set up, you could potentially kind of go neg to get this onto the field as an extender, but even better if you can get cards into the graveyard. So I don't know if this is a 3 of, maybe a 1 or 2 of. Something searchable, kind of recurse some resources, get some cards. I don't think the battle effect seems that great. It seems kind of and then you're locked into rank 4s again, so it seems pretty common. I think it's the weakest out of the ones we've seen so far. So we have Raizeol Duodrive, rank 4 Fire Thunder effect XYZ monster, attack 2500, defense 2000. Materials are 2+ level 4 monsters. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can attach one Raizeol monster from your grave to this card as material. 2. For each material attached to this card, monsters you control gain 100, also your opponent's monsters lose 100. And 3. During your main phase, you can attach 2 materials from your XYZ monster, and if you do, add 2 Raizeol cards with different names from your deck to your hand. So this card is really interesting because it lets you add 2 cards, and also the wording I think on the third effect is interesting. It's just during the main phase, detach 2 materials from your XYZ monsters, and if you do, add 2 Raizeol cards with different names from your deck to your hand. So it sounds like maybe you could detach from any XYZ monster 2 materials to add. I'm not sure, or if it means you have to detach 2 from all XYZ monsters. I feel like that feels wrong. Maybe it's just you can detach from any monsters to search 2 Raizeol cards from your deck to your hand. So that seems really good, and it's cards, not just like monsters. So any spells or traps, we can search those too. So that seems really good. So really easy way to get into like some setup. Pretty simply, you get to add materials to this, kind of allowing you to give yourself a little bit of a boost. The 2500 with the plus minus could come up, once you have 3 materials. That's like a 600 boost overall, since you're giving yours 3 and giving your opponents, a negative 300 attack. So that can let you get over that 3000 range just by having the 3 XYZ materials on it, which is okay. I don't think it's very important, but is a little thing that could come up. And then if you can detach from any XYZ monster 2 materials, you can keep this on here for that, kind of battle phase protection to an extent. So it seems pretty interesting. So overall, just really solid that you add 2 cards by detaching 2. Next we have Raizeol Deadnader, rank 4 light pyro XYZ effect monster, attack 3000, defense 2500. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. If this card is special summoned, you can attach 1 monster from your graveyard to this card as material. 2. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 card on the field and destroy it. 3. If an XYZ monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead. So this seems like a pretty solid card too. The fact that you have a quick effect, that you can use when your opponent activates a card or effect. Attach a material from this card, target card on the field, destroy it. Now it doesn't negate, but it is a destruction, and you can also stop a destruction by detaching as well, which is cool. And then also when summoned, you can attach any monster from your grave to this as material. I wonder if that leads to any weird things where it's like certain monsters have effects they give other monsters when attached as material. So I wonder if that leads to anything interesting that we might see potentially. So I think that could lead to maybe some interesting stuff. It also works that like if you hand trap your opponent and then make 2 rank 4s, you can attach those hand traps to this card, making it so that we don't have to rely on having like a Raizeol in the grave. I believe the last one has to attach a Raizeol monster. So yeah, that's definitely really interesting. I think it seems like a solid card, pretty big, with the boost, seems good. None of these are streaming like amazing to me. They're just okay. Kind of one's the consistency. This is like the, kind of more power card. So seems decent, but nothing seems too special right now. But a overall solid, simple start, I think, to a good archetype. All right, so the first spell card we have is Raizeol Plugin, quick play spell card. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. 1. Target 1 XYZ monster or 1 Raizeol monster in your graveyard or banishment, special summon. Then you can attach 1 Raizeol card from your deck to your rank 4 XYZ monster as material. Also, you cannot declare attached to this turn except with rank 4 XYZ monsters. So this seems like a pretty solid card, just quick play Monster Reborn. It seems pretty solid, doesn't negate the effects. You can get those effects to kind of add more cards, get more resources. You can attach more materials to these cards, which is pretty good, and it could be any Raizeol card. So if any of these spells or traps have effects, potentially, either maybe this trap does or other cards, you can potentially get bonuses from that, or just get more materials to stop destruction effects, or give yourself the ability to lower attack points or search more, different things like that. So it seems a pretty solid card. Quick play spell's pretty good. That way you could either extend with it on your turn or use it, to get more materials on your card on your opponent's turn. And especially if there's anything that triggers when equipped or anything like that in the future, or maybe even in this release, that'd be really good. All right, and then the last card we have here is Raizeol Thruster, a normal trap card. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. 1. Target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Raizeol XYZ monsters you control, destroy them. Then you can attach 1 Raizeol card from your graveyard to your rank 4 XYZ monster as material. 2. You can banish this card from your grave, immediately add this effect resolves XYZ summon using the monsters you control, including a Raizeol monster. So again, this actually seems like a pretty solid normal trap card. The only thing that kind of sucks is that you have to be able to set up to an extent to use this, where like some cards, it's like if you control a Raizeol monster versus controlling a Raizeol XYZ. Now, most likely with how this deck seems to work, I feel like you have pretty good ways to, even if your starter gets hit, you probably can extend out with another card to get to the rank 4. I think that seems like it won't be too bad to do. So I don't think that's a huge downside. But it is something that you kind of have to be able to play at least to a degree, even though being able to make those plays seems pretty easy to do overall. And none of these like cards for the rank 4s actually lock you into needing Raizeols except the second one. So you could always generically go into the first one. So that's something to consider too. And then we also have some interesting stuff with the graveyard effect, which I really like on trap cards. I think it gives them more of a bonus to play. So you can banish it from your grave and XYZ summon on your opponent's turn. Now, I think that's pretty cool. I don't think this really does a whole lot for you right now because none of the Exceed monsters have good effects on summon besides attaching. So unless you're triggering an attach effect, maybe in the future, then I can see that being a good way to interrupt outside of just getting more bodies on the field and, being able to get to other cards. So it definitely seems like a pretty solid card. Definitely, I think a good one-of search card. Heck of a name, Raizeol Thruster. I feel like maybe we'll see that adjusted when it comes to the TCG. But, definitely looking forward to hearing what you guys got to say, because I think there's some interesting cards here. Everyone, that is it for the Raizeol cards. I think they're really interesting, pretty cookie cutter in terms of how they work and pretty simple. They don't seem to do anything extravagant. It's not like Snake Eye where they're attacking out and doing more complex plays. It seems like a much more kind of linear, straightforward deck on what it's attempting to do, but that's not always a bad thing. Longer tournament runs, that could be helpful, just kind of having a simple deck that you're easily able to use over and over. I don't see anything about this that seems broken. Maybe you just play a lot of hand traps and some rank 4s, but the rank 4s don't seem overall broken to me, so I'm not really sure on how good this is going to be. I think it's playable. outside on release, but I don't know if these are going to be broken by any chance, unless we see some other outside resources or different things that combine with it, some new support that maybe triggers, effects that when attached, it causes that monster gain an effect, or like how Mathmech had, but I definitely think there is a good start to this. I think it'll be playable. I'm sure we'll see it in the meta at some point since it'll get more support. But it seems definitely good, and I look forward to hearing what you guys think. Everyone, that is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Hey everyone, this is Editing Max. If you're enjoying the content and you want to support the channel, you can check out the TCG affiliate link in the description below. It supports the channel and costs you nothing, and you'll just be doing the same thing you normally do when you buy cards from TCG Player. If you're new to buying cards from TCG Player, check out my website. I have a section on it that helps out new people, kind of explaining some of the aspects of TCG Player, so that way you can get the most out of your money and you don't fall into some of these weird things that some people do to push up the price of cards. If you want to become a patron on the channel, check out my Patreon. It's another way you can help support the channel. We have different perks you can check out, like a lot of archetype proxies you see on the screen. Every week, I put a new one out that everyone on the channel can vote on YouTube, and then these go to Patreon for you to print out. You can also join for early access. Some videos will be 1 day early access, others that are in a longer series could be weeks out in advance, and you can get the entire thing at once, while everyone on YouTube has to wait week by week for all the videos to come out. You can also join for an exclusive Yu-Gi-Oh! Reaction series where I watch through the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. We have discussions in the comments and watch through it together as well. Plus, there are other perks coming out in the future. Everyone, thanks again for watching the content.